Bright Duty. Every student matters.
Hello everyone. Now let us continue with the topic that we had been doing in the previous classes as well. The topic was matter in our surroundings. Now in that topic we had seen that how the different states of matter can be changed from one state to another by changing the temperature as well as pressure. So what did you learn? Please let's recollect what we had learnt already, that you can change a solid into a liquid or a liquid into a gaseous state by changing both the temperature and the pressure. That means if you increase the temperature, then you can convert a solid into a liquid state and a liquid into a gaseous state. And the vice versa is also possible, that is, a gas can be converted into a liquid state by reducing the temperature, as well as on further reducing the temperature, you can convert a liquid into the solid state. Now that was all with the change of temperature. Now let us carry forward this understanding in evaporation and boiling. Now these are two very basic and important concepts, evaporation and boiling. Now before we understand what is evaporation and boiling, let us understand that what is boiling. Boiling always happens at a boiling point. Okay, that means we have a term which is known as a boiling point. Now what is boiling point? It is the temperature at which a liquid starts converting into its vapor state. So how would you term it? That boiling point is the temperature at which a liquid changes into the gaseous form. Okay, and every substance has got a specific boiling point. For example, in case of water, the boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. So it is at 100 degrees Celsius, you would see that water would start converting into its vapor state, into the gaseous state, that we term it as water vapor. Similarly, for alcohol it is 70 degrees Celsius, and at 70 degrees Celsius, alcohol starts converting into the gaseous state. So likewise, we have many such liquids which boils at different temperatures and get converted from the liquid state to the vapor state or the gaseous state. Now the question is that is boiling and evaporation same, or they are two different concepts? Because in case of evaporation, we see that there happens to be the change of state from the liquid to the gaseous state. Whereas in case of boiling, the same thing happens. There is a change of the liquid state into the gaseous state. If both has the same concept of changes from liquid to the gaseous state, then how are they different? Now for that, let us try to understand, and for that let me elaborate it more. In case of boiling, what happens that you always supply energy. Supply of heat energy is done. By giving heat energy, what are you doing? You are inducing energy to the system. For instance, if you have a beaker where you have water and then you start heating it. On doing so, what are you doing? You are inducing energy to the system such that the particles which are there, they can start getting energy. They take up the energy and then they start getting converted from the liquid state into the gaseous state. So here you make a deliberate attempt to give energy to the system, which does not happen in case of evaporation. In case of evaporation, what happens that it takes place at any temperature. So if we basically make a difference between evaporation and boiling, then we can do it in this manner. In evaporation is a surface phenomena. Okay, evaporation is a surface phenomena. Surface phenomena means that it happens only on the topmost layer of the particles. For instance, if we have a beaker and we have water, half beaker is filled with water, then it is only the surface particles which are subjected to the change of state of matter. Whereas in case of boiling, it is a bulk phenomena. Okay, it is a bulk phenomena. Bulk phenomena means you are providing energy to the entire system of the liquid. You are equally giving energy to all the particles of the system at the same time so that they can get converted from the liquid state to the gaseous state. So that's why, because it happens throughout the system, throughout all the particles, that's why we term it as bulk phenomena. But in case of evaporation, it just happens with the topmost layer. It is only the topmost layer particles that absorbs the energy from the surrounding and converts themselves from the liquid state to the vapor state. Next, in evaporation can happen at any temperature. Okay, evaporation can take place at any temperature. Even at low temperature, even at higher temperature. The only difference is at a lower temperature, the rate of evaporation or the extent to which a liquid is converting into the gaseous state may be less, whereas if you raise the temperature, the level of or the extent of evaporation may increase. Whereas in case of boiling, it happens only at specific temperature or fixed temperature. Okay. So, evaporation happens at any temperature, whereas boiling happens at fixed temperature. As I already quoted to you, that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, alcohol at 70 degrees Celsius. So, there is a fixed and specific temperature at which the boiling would start. In case of evaporation, there is no requirement of external induction of any energy. No external induction of energy. Alright. Whereas in case of boiling, there has to be source of heat energy. Alright. So here in case of evaporation happens at normal temperature, it can happen at any temperature. So you do not need to make any deliberate attempt to induce some heat energy to the system. But in case of boiling, you have to subject the system, the liquid, to a specific temperature so that the boiling can start. So I suppose this is understood by you, that in case of evaporation, it is a surface phenomena. It is only the topmost layer particles that will change from the liquid state to the gaseous state. Why? Because they absorb the energy from the surrounding, due to which their intermolecular spaces increases, they free themselves from the attractive forces and thus they move away from the liquid and thus get converted into the gaseous state. But in case of boiling, you are providing energy to the system so that every particle can gain that energy and get converted into the gaseous state at a faster rate. Second point is that it happens at any temperature. At a lower temperature, even at higher temperature. Only difference is the rate of evaporation would depend on the temperature. Whereas in case of boiling, it happens only at a specific temperature, which we term it as boiling point. It happens only at boiling point, but for evaporation, there is no fixed temperature. The next point for evaporation is that there is no requirement of external energy induction. Whereas in case of boiling, there has to be a source of heat energy. Alright. So I suppose you understand the difference between evaporation and boiling.